Good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you might be watching. You'll recall in parts 1 and 2 of how to create an Access database that we looked at creating a table and editing the table properties for the fields in the table. Just one or two final things I'd just like to show you in the tables prior to actually creating a form to enter data. You remember that in 2 or 3 of the fields we entered a description, and I said to you, this was in part 1, that when I clicked in an area which had a description, in a cell in a field that had a description, that down here in the bottom left hand corner appears a user-friendly tip as to what you want done. So that's why we type descriptions in the design view of the field. Similarly, if I click in the one of the dates of birth, it will say enter date of birth. So that's fine. Well, if I want to delete a record, I need to click on the record selection bar there where the little black arrow appears, and if I want to delete that record, then I simply press the delete key, and it says that the deletion cannot be undone. So just be careful of that. If you do click yes, you can't undo that action. If you made a mistake, you would have to re-enter that particular record. So I'm going to say no. Now, the next step, and this is part 3, is how to create a form so that I can enter data into the table, bearing in mind that the table that holds the records is the spine of the database. To create a form, I click on the Create tab up here, and in the ribbon I suggest initially that you look at using the Form Wizard, because when I click Form Wizard, what that will do, it allows me to decide which fields I want to be on my form. Here are all the fields from the table, from the field ID down to the state. The double arrow sends all of the fields across, but I decide for whatever reason that I don't want the friend ID to be showing on the form, because Access will automatically take care of the next ID even though you can't see it on the form. So I'll send it back with the left pointing arrow. Then I'll click Next, and it says what layout would you like. There are various layouts here that I can see. Probably the most popular is the columnar layout, which shows me the form in a very usable manner. We'll click Next, having chosen that layout. And what title? Well, we'll call it Friends. It can have the same name as the table. I want to open the form to view or enter information, so I'll click Finish. And I see now I can add a new record, and the way I do that is to look down here in the navigation area. You'll see that there is a set of arrows. The first record will show. If I click on that one, I can progress through a single record at a time by clicking the single arrow. To go to the last record, I click that particular button, but for a new record I click the arrow there, and that opens up a blank record for me. So the first name in this case we'll say as Harry. Tab takes me down through the forms. His surname we'll say is Robertson. His date of birth is the 21st of July 1967. His telephone is 02 876 8907, and by default the state showed as NSW. At this stage, let's not worry about the width of the entry areas for the fields. We'll be looking at that when we come to look at the design view of the form and how to edit it. Just a precursor look at that, if I click on the drop arrow and go to design view, that's how the design view looks, and I'll be showing you how to edit that particular area in an upcoming upload. So at this stage I'll go back to the form view tab and I'll delete the table. I generally right click there and, or rather not delete the table, but close the table, and I'll also close the form. And I see over here in the left hand pane that there is now a form called Friends. So just to run through it again, all I had to do was click on the create button and choose the form wizard, and then I could choose the table. Because I only have one table at this stage in this database, it selects that by default, but if I had other tables, I wanted to create forms based on the other table, then I would see it in that drop arrow there. Then I see all the fields. I can send them across one by one, or send them all across and then send the ones back that I don't want. So creating a form is really easy, and the beauty about it is that it makes data entry very, very simple. I see one record at a time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe,